You know that feeling when part of you wants to move closer, but another part is screaming to run away? That push and pull. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system trying to protect you. Maybe you're the opposite. You hold on so tight that you can feel the other person pulling away. You know you're doing it, but you can't stop. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. If you keep ending up in the same painful patterns over and over again, it's not because you're broken. It's because something deeper is running the show. Your nervous system is still living in your childhood, and until you understand that, you'll keep recreating the same wounds in every relationship. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how that works, and more importantly, what you can do about it. When you were a child, your brain was learning something much more fundamental than reading or math. It was learning, how do I stay safe? How do I get love? And here's where it gets complicated. The answers your brain came up with back then? They're still influencing every choice you make today. If your caregivers were consistent and attuned, your brain learned, I'm safe, people are trustworthy. But if they were unpredictable, dismissive, or overwhelmed, even if they loved you, your brain learned something very different. It learned, I need to be hyper-vigilant. I need to read the room. I need to make myself smaller to survive. That constant scanning for danger, that walking on eggshells, that became your normal. Maybe you learned to disappear, to not take up space, to manage everyone else's emotions, but never your own. And that learning didn't just stay in childhood. It became your blueprint for every relationship that followed. Here's what's happening in your brain. There's a part of your nervous system called the amygdala. Think of it as your internal alarm system. Its entire job is to scan for danger and keep you alive. But when you experienced trauma as a child, that smoke detector became incredibly sensitive. It learned to associate certain emotional cues, raised voices, silence, even intimacy itself, with danger. So now, as an adult, when someone gets close to you, your amygdala doesn't think, how lovely. It thinks, threat detected, and it activates one of three responses: fight, flight, or freeze. Maybe you pick fights. Maybe you ghost people. Maybe you go completely numb. This isn't a choice you're making consciously. This is your nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do: protect you. But here's the painful irony. The very strategies that kept you safe as a child are now the ones destroying your adult relationships. Because what protected you then is what's pushing people away now. Let me introduce you to attachment theory. Based on your early experiences, you developed one of several attachment styles, and these follow you into adulthood. Anxious attachment. You text repeatedly. You need constant reassurance. You interpret silence as rejection. You feel like you're too much, but can't stop yourself. This happens when caregivers were inconsistent, sometimes loving, sometimes unavailable. So your brain learned, I'm never sure if I'll be abandoned. Avoidant attachment. You pull away when things get intimate. You struggle with vulnerability. You rationalize why you don't need anyone. Disorganized attachment. You desperately want connection, but sabotage it the moment you get it. You're caught between come here and go away. Do you recognize yourself in any of these? If you do, I want you to hear this clearly. This is not your fault. You adapted brilliantly to survive, but now you get to update that system. Here's something that might blow your mind. There's a concept called repetition compulsion, the tendency to recreate our original wounds in new relationships. You might find yourself attracted to emotionally unavailable partners if you had an emotionally unavailable parent. That cycle keeps repeating. Or you unconsciously pick someone who triggers your anxiety because anxiety feels like love, because it feels like home. Your unconscious brain is trying to solve the original problem. It's thinking, maybe this time, if I'm perfect enough, they'll give me what I needed. But here's the truth. You can't heal a childhood wound by recreating it in adulthood. You can only heal it by learning something new, and that starts with awareness. The first step to breaking these patterns is awareness. Start paying attention to the moments when you get activated. What I mean by activated, when your heart races, when anxiety floods in, when you feel rage or the urge to run, when you go numb. In those moments, pause. Don't act on the impulse, just pause. Instead, ask yourself, how old do I feel right now? Because trauma has a way of collapsing time. When you're triggered, you're not responding to what's actually happening. You're responding to a memory. You might be 35, but you feel 8. Once you notice that, you can start to separate past from present. You can say to yourself, I'm safe now. This is not that. I'm an adult with choices. Your trauma lives in your body, not just your thoughts. So you can't think your way out of it. You have to feel your way through. Here are some techniques to regulate your nervous system in real time. The VU breath. Breathe in through your nose. As you exhale, make a VOO sound for as long as you can. The vibration calms your fight or flight response. Bilateral stimulation. Cross your arms and tap your shoulders alternately, left, right, left, right. This helps your brain process emotions. Grounding. Notice 5 things you can see. 4 you can touch. 3 you can hear. 2 you can smell. 1 you can taste. This brings you out of the trauma response and back into your body, here and now. These aren't just coping mechanisms. They're retraining your nervous system to know, I'm safe, I can handle this. One of the most powerful things you can do is learn to give yourself what you didn't receive as a child. This is called reparenting. When you feel the urge to cling to someone for reassurance, pause. Place your hand on your heart, breathe, and tell yourself the thing you needed to hear back then. You're safe. You're worthy of love. You don't have to earn it. I know this might feel awkward at first, but your nervous system doesn't know the difference between external and internal reassurance. Over time, you become your own secure base. And when you're regulated within yourself, you stop looking for other people to fix your internal state. That's when relationships stop being about survival. Here's a hard truth. Healing means you're going to have to choose differently. You're going to notice when you're drawn to the familiar and choose someone else. Someone steady, someone consistent, someone boring. And at first, it's going to feel wrong, because your nervous system has been conditioned to associate love with anxiety or pain. Healthy love might feel like no spark, but that's not a sign it's wrong. That's a sign it's new. Your nervous system needs time to recalibrate. Give it time. Stay the course. The spark will come, but this time it'll be built on safety, not fear. And that changes everything.